Hello, everyone, and once again, welcome you all to another podcast themed highlights of new AI breakthroughs in the industrial space. I'm your host, Saurabh Sasidharan, Customer Success Manager for ARC Advisory Group, India. And I'm excited to bring you another insightful discussion. AI is driving a new wave of transformation in the industrial space, from intelligent automation and predictive maintenance to AI powered quality control and supply chain optimization. Recent breakthroughs are making operations more efficient and decision making faster than ever before. To share more expertise and knowledge on these AI breakthroughs, I have an esteemed guest, Gopi Krishnan, the founder of Hyperleap AI, with us. And to help guide our conversation, I am delighted to welcome my co host, Vikram Kalkat, Director of Strategic Services at ARC Advisory Group, Middle East. So, Vikram, I have handed over to you to dive into learning more about Gopi Krishna and Hyperleap, followed by your questions too. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Saurabh and Gopi Krishna. Many thanks for coming over. We really appreciate your time. And, it was a very good conversation we had a couple of weeks back. So, therefore, we thought this is something that would be of much interest to many people out there. So, Gopi Krishna, could you tell us a bit more about what is it that your company is doing in terms of AI, both from where you started from and also a bit detail on the product as well. Over to you, Gopi Krishna.
Sure, Vikram. Hey, Saurabh. Uh, First of all, thank you so much, guys, for having me on the show. It's an honor, and just jumping right into what we do at Hyperleap AI, we've developed a generative AI platform of sorts that helps businesses deploy generative AI solutions in a matter of hours and days. Let me give you an example, right? A business wants to deploy a customer facing chatbot that takes care of customer service. With our platform, they can do it within minutes. So they want to have some level of automation within their enterprise in any function, whether it is, take it marketing, take it HR, take it any internal support function for the business. They could stand up agents that are essentially co-pilots working with the teams. So in all, we developed a sort of a no-code platform that helps businesses go Gen AI really, really fast. And the response has been great. And people are looking at it and saying, hey, with this thing, I get like instant ROI. And that has been our mantra ever since we started the venture, is that how do businesses reap the full benefits of generative AI, right? And I think we're getting there pretty quickly.
And you mentioned that you're working on generative AI, and I also hear the words such as agentic AI and causal AI. Could
Right.
you help from information perspective, help further bifurcate where does your product fit in, where do the other pieces fit in when people are looking around on these things?
Correct. Let me give you a little bit brief on how the agentic ecosystem is evolving, right, Vikram? So when it comes to agentic AI, there are different levels of automation that we are seeing right now. At the bare minimum level of automation, these agents work as co-pilots with the existing team members. They sort of are a helping hand. You work with an agent, try to refine a marketing copy, or you try to create a HR document, or you make it look like a chatbot that actually answers users' questions, things like that, the basic stuff. But in a typical enterprise, especially in the context of the kind of verticals that you're working with, be it Industry 4.0, 5.0, and then getting deep into some of the manufacturing areas, or I mean, we work with a lot of prop tech clients as well as ed tech. A lot of the clients expect multiple levels of automation, right? So the agentic AI, as we see it, is evolving from a bare minimum sort of helper co-pilot kind of agentic workflows to delivering on workflow depth. So the more information we feed to the generative AI systems, we can expect more workflow depth. And that's the missing piece in today's enterprise generative AI deployments, right? How much of the workflow depth can you handle? Can you handle it all? Like, can you actually write an email to a customer, reply their emails, and maybe even take over certain tasks that normally a person would do? Can you actually replace the person? Now, when you get down to the you know the core of what agentic AI is, it's like you have an LLM which is a large language model, or you have a small language model that is custom trained to your specific, industry vertical, and then you're looking at equipping it with a lot of tools that it has access to execute tasks on your behalf. Now, some of those tools could be pretty simple ones, like go search the web and find out something, right? And some of the tools could be more complex, as in, hey, by the way, trigger this, which will trigger a robotic arm to do X, Y, Z on the factory floor. Now, what tools are you equipping your agentic AI confidently and ensuring that it is delivering the end result? And ultimately, like what is the golden age of agentic AI that we're going to see in a couple of years is, all we need to give the agent is a goal. And once we give the goal, the agent has to do all this planning, reasoning by itself and try to get to that goal. And this is what we are seeing in the latest models, right? The reasoning models, the reason that they're getting so popular is because if you ask DeepSeek R1 right now, or Kimi K1, or you're asking Perplexity, the deep research one, it does in a multi-step way. It's not like, I asked a question and it's generating something, right? It's actually browsing the internet, coming back, collating information, finding the missing pieces, doing some browsing again, then again creating a report on top of it, critiquing itself. Now, these kind of like multi-step evaluations are what businesses will increasingly, like to see in the coming years. We're getting there. So the way we work is we have simple agentic workflows, and we act as an orchestration layer. So what happens is, even though these agents exist independently, the way we orchestrate them and make those agents work with each other is the thing that we bring to the table, apart from the whole platform and the no code and other things, right? And that's where the world is headed, and like super excited about that.
Well, let me expand or ask you two things about it. That you mentioned about the versions. You mentioned about how DeepSeek, Perplexity, and other things are happening. Could you expand as to where does your models fit in with so much of changes happening all the time?
Well, so we have a very model agnostic platform. So what we do is, whenever new model comes, we just instantly onboard onto it, because onboard those models onto our platform, because we have like a layer that we built, a custom layer that of sorts, which is fairly large language model agnostic. So the moment DeepSeek R1 came, we plugged it in. The moment any model comes, any popular model comes, we simply plug it in, and our customers get access to all the models in one go that they can plug in with their business use cases. That's how we operate. That's where most of the businesses see value in actually delivering the ROI and the use case, instead of constantly getting bogged down by the kind of model innovation that is happening out there. So we do that initial.
So Gopi, I want to ask you about the challenges you're facing, because I mean, obviously you're doing everything so quickly. Models are coming out, you're updating the systems, you're doing version controls, you're providing the feedbacks to the clients. What kind of challenges are you facing that are really the hard ones from your perspective in meeting the client expectations?
So I think one of the thing that just generative AI in general, this particular pace, it's evolving too quickly, like you said. But also, the access to the models is also fairly fast. In the sense, most of the leadership teams at various companies are looking at it and saying, "Hey, I've gotten DeepSeek R1. What are we going to do with it? I've gotten, I've played with Kimi K1 or like some of these advanced models, and like, what can we do with it? What are the kind of use cases that we can do with it?" So only when we look at the actual workflows that are in an enterprise and try to fit in what parts of the decision making can be outsourced with an LLM, right? That is a really tough job, and that is very challenging, and it actually depends on the verticals that you're targeting as a company as well, right? Even
And
Hyperleap
further on the verticals, what do you mean by the verticals so people are
verticals,
clear
as in
about?
like industry verticals, right? Like a
Okay.
real estate firm would have significantly different operations compared to a tech firm, or compared to a firm that is heavily into manufacturing and industries. So everybody's workflows are different. So
Can
while
you
we make
customize these?
yeah, we can, but the thing is, it also requires deep domain expertise, and to the point where we are going, we are going ahead and sitting with the clients and saying, okay, these are the 3 or 4 steps that you do to achieve this goal, how many of these can be automated through large language models? And that's a very Herculean task when it comes down to it. It's like you can automate some back office operations, you can obviously optimize the cost, things like that, or put in sort of LLM based automation where you already have some level of RPA in place, right? But when you get down to it and say, hey, can I replace this specific worker or this particular role in the company? It gets really hard because you have to go deep into the domain. And that's where the domain experts working hand in hand with the technology experts or the developers, the product guys and all, that really helps. And that's where we are seeing success, right? I mean, that level of collaboration was not required before because it was like, somebody makes the spec for it, somebody else develops it, and it's like, you're throwing it over the wall to the other side. But with generative AI, it's no longer the case. Everybody has to work with each other and bring together all the pieces and say, hey, this is the end-to-end workflow that I'm working with. And in this end-to-end workflow, these parts of decision making or generation or audit or analysis, reporting, whatever that is, can be automated through a large language model or a small language model. And recently we have worked with an insurance client to develop like a small proof of concept, right? So now they're trying to automate like a process that has been always done manually. All they need to do is, dump files onto a file share and we process it through a worker function. There's hardly any user interface also involved. So some of the software paradigms are also changing in the sense, do we really even need user interfaces? Because most of these agentic workflows, they don't need UIs to interact with the systems, right? They just like, file shares and some, backend processes and things like that. So the whole paradigm of how do we develop software and everything is changing. So it's quite challenging and quite exciting at the same time, I would say.
Thank you very much, Gopi Krishna. That was very informative. Just one final question before we stop.
Yeah.
Anything that worries you or anything contrarian you think of that could just catapult the whole market for you?
Right. The thing is, I think the right level of automation is really needed. Like, it's a fine balance, I would say. Like, when businesses are looking at generative AI, they're looking at, oh, I should be going all in with generative AI because there's like a FOMO in the world, like the fear of missing out. We have to be Gen AI first. And there's the other extreme, which is like, okay, let us not do anything and then wait for the dust to settle. The truth is somewhere in the middle. And most businesses I see are like either too aggressive, and then a new model comes out, and then that breaks the entire cycle of deployments and the investments that are making, or like they're too laid back, and then they're getting run over by their competition. So that fine balance is where I think like the most of the market will make a good amount of economic value that they derive from generative AI models, right? And striking that with like a sort of a great partner, whether it's a software partner or a consulting partner. Go deep into the use cases, go deep into your own domain, and try to find what part of it can be outsourced to a agent, like an agentic workflow or a generative AI workflow. That's the $1 million or $1 billion question for every business, actually. And sometimes maybe that's the only IP that we'll create in the process, and which you can sell it to other businesses, your own competition and customers, right? So, yeah, I think that's the crux.
No, thank you very much, Gopi Krishna. That was a wonderful chat, and looking forward to further successes there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, guys. Yeah, it's been a pleasure talking to you guys. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Vikram, for seamlessly coordinating the discussion. And thank you, Gopi Krishna, for sharing your valuable insight. To our audience, to learn more about Hyperleap and to connect with Gopi Krishna, check out the description. Also, to explore on ARC's offering services and to know further details, please visit our website, www.artwork.com. Once again, thank you guys, and thanks to the audience for watching the video.